Hello again, welcome back to Creative Sprint number 3, the breakdown. I hope all of you saw the creative, the the sprint. I mean, the 30-minute sprint I made. So I changed it up a bit. I asked an LLM, an AI, to give me some parameters or some like constraints in which I had to create the loop. On the right side of the screen, you can see, if you can see it, I said, I forgot to change the resolution, but because we're in a new video, I can change the resolution. So let's increase the scaling a bit so everyone can follow along. Something like this, I think, will be okay. So here on the right, you can see the constraints the AI or the LLM gave me. So a BPM of 98, which is slower than in what I usually work, but it gives a bit of a challenge, another challenge. And also it gave me a key, F sharp Aeolian, so it's just natural minor. And it gave me a description of the feel of how this key, well, the feeling this key gives. Yeah. And it also gave me a focal point on what I should be concentrating. So in this case, it was a chord progression. That was the focal point of the entire loop. It was a bit of a challenge. I think the if you saw the 30-minute sprint, it wasn't that, or it was less engaging. I think it was also for me a challenge to work in these constraints because it's easier, at least for me, to just work with nothing to start from scratch. Yeah. So anyway, I asked the LLM to give me some parameters, some constraints, and I worked within them. It's a challenge. You'll see in future sprints and breakdowns that I will be using more of these type of challenges. So it's not always a blank canvas in which I start. So no tabula rasa. I will be working with something because, and I will break this down more in a future video. I'm certain, but I want to give you like the bullet point. And it's this: I have a lot of effects and instruments that I almost never use. And it's not in this challenge, but in the next ones, maybe not the next one, but in the future, there will be challenges in which the AI will give me instruments and effects to use. So yeah, just to challenge me, to keep it interesting for me as well. Okay, anyway, enough with the rambling. I've been going on for 3 minutes and we haven't even started the breakdown. But it will be a shorter one because again, the loop wasn't, I think, that difficult either, not complicated. And so I won't have a lot of things to discuss, I think. Let's go. So we started out with a chord progression. The focal point was the chord progression. So I love to work with scalar because although I'm not illiterate, I'm also not completely illiterate in music scales and the chords in which every key or of which every key is constructed. So I used scalar. Started off with now it's on perform, but I started off with just a chord progression, some simple plucked chords. But I felt like I think it was after I added this drone, I felt like the chord progression needed some movement, so not just plucked chords, but like a performance within the chords. And also, again, it's Scalar has some excellent performances that you can use. I'm not a keyboard player. I'm a guitar player and also not a great guitar player. I just know where the strings are. But it's a bit of the same with the keyboard. So I use scalar to help me with that. I use it a bit like a session musician, you could say. Anyway, we start off with this chord progression. So lovely. Dry, it sounds great as well, of course. It's the felt piano, I think it's the felt piano. Yeah, it's the felt piano out of Scalar 2. I have Scalar 3, and I use Scalar 3, but I'm still very fond of Scalar 2 and used to working with Scalar 2. So in the future, I will be using, or I have already used Scalar 3 as well, but it's just easier or faster to work in Scalar 2 for me. Anyway, without effects, it's great, but I decided to add movement and interest with effects, of course. And I love working with FX layer. It's called FX layers in Bitwig. What it really is just it's FX chains used in parallel. So we have a delay, simple Bitwig delay with some reverse blur. And after that I added a portal with just a preset, Strange Dreams in this case, to give it movement again and interest. After the piano I decided to add some more interest with a drone. I just searched for a preset in UVI Workstation. I bought the complete UVI catalog about a year ago, and I love it. I love working with it. It has so many presets and great presets. It's always like a bit of a rabbit hole to start searching for it, but great stuff. And also the tape delay, got it. And I love this delay. It adds movement. You get with the yeah, it's a tape, so you can add different kind of movement to the sound. So together with the piano, we have like a very good, what's the word I'm looking for? Like bass foundation in which to work. But of course, it's electronic music and I'm missing some percussion. In this case, I added the trick I use a lot of the times, and I think everyone already knows how to use it. Again, I'm gonna make a video on this. I just didn't have the time yet, sorry. Yeah, it's a bit of a slower percussion loop. The playhead is moving like in quarter notes, I think. Yes, quarter notes. And also the arpeggiator, probably quarter notes. Yeah, quarter notes. Again, moving in 13 steps. And in this case, it doesn't really matter, in fact. Yeah. Pretty simple. Just add some rhythmic feelings. Rhythmic stuff. Sorry, looking for the words. They are not flowing. Anyway, now we've got this, and we're missing a bass. So next up is the bass. In this case, used polymer, just a simple sine wave, but we added movement. We can remove this one and this one. So we have a random modulator modulating the skew. So every note is different, but even inside the note, the skew is moving. And we have a second modulator that's modulating the fold. So it's movement. It's moving all the time. Moving. Very important, at least for me, to give it interest again. It's all about adding interest to everything. I think it's lovely. I can listen for hours to this loop and a half. Next up, I wanted to add melody. Yeah, there's different ways of adding melody. You can play it in yourself if you're a keyboard player, or just, yeah, find something that is interesting. I decided to use the instruments or the effects, the modulators, everything we have at our disposal in Bitwig. With a free instrument, the decent sampler is a free sampler, and there are some free instruments. And in this case, I used the Domra, which sounds great. It won't always play. So imported the chords. It's the same chords as here, closed chords. I could have opened them up a bit. Yeah, didn't think about it, in fact, so they are very close by. By closed, I mean they are just triads. There's no inversion, I think. Is this an inversion? Maybe, but doesn't matter. It's a closed chord, so not an open chord. Added an arpeggiator, and the arpeggiator is just playing probably up down, so a normal arpeggiated rhythm in 16 steps. But the kicker is that the steps modulator modulates the gates and the velocity. What this means is that this will play in half notes, I think. Yes, half notes. 23 steps, and then it repeats. So we get melody, yes, but not a predictable melody. It's like changing all the time. Maybe you can't even call it a melody. We also have this random modulator that's modulating the note value. So we don't always get a whole note. We can get 16 notes, I think. So it's 3. So it's up to, I think, quarter notes or maybe 8 notes. No idea. I think it's up to 8 notes. Yeah, these are 8 notes. So it's random. It's a melody. Yeah, it's not a predictable melody. It's random, but it's interesting. And of course, adding some more stuff with a delay and a convolution reverb. After that, missed some more percussion, so added a shaker. Again, it's the same thing I love to do. Is maybe I haven't showed this yet, but I just added in a drum machine and with a preset. So in this case, shakers big and small. I think it's a free pack in Bitwig. Probably if you go to packages here in Bitwig, there's a lot to install, and this is probably a free pack. So I just added in a single note, the bottom note. But with an arpeggiator, you can like choose other notes. Probably not explaining this correctly. But so here it plays what's the value here? The 12th. So it's 12 semitones above this one. So it's probably over here somewhere. You can see if you have so this is a C1, so this will play a C2. whatever the C2 is, we can see over here. Yeah, no easy way of looking for the C2. Anyway, doesn't matter. I hope I explained this a bit so you can follow along. Maybe added some effects. Yeah, just a simple left-right delay, but with a randomizer, a random modulator that's modulating here the delay scalar, the unit scalar. So it goes from 16th notes to dotted 16th notes. Great stuff. All right, it goes in the other direction as well. So we get up to triplets, I think. Always moving. Again, sounds that are moving. After that, I added some bongos, and this is, again, I wanted to use, like, I tried something, and it didn't work. And I should have known it wouldn't work, but yeah, it's trial and error, it's happy accidents, and stuff can come out of happy accidents or not, but you will learn something. And also, I want to have fun, always have fun. And experimenting, playing. I want to play. That's the key word. I want to play. I don't want to work. I want to play. So I tried something, didn't work, but we moved quickly in another way, and we started working with operators. So if you don't know what operators are, look it up, because I'm not going to explain it in this one. If you want, I can explain it. But anyway, an operator is something in Bitwig. It's over here. And I only used one operator, and that's the random operator. So the chance that one of these blocks will play is 3%. I think I started higher, but then after, I think towards the end of the video, towards the end of the 30 minutes, I lowered the chance. So the probability of it playing. I also at the end moved or changed a bit of other parameters. So the velocity, I think, yeah, and it's added some randomization, so it doesn't always play at the same velocity if it plays. And also the panning, it's not always in the middle. It can go to the left or to the right, and it's random, so it's always changing again. The problem with this is that it's not predictable. It's the same with the shakers. The shakers are, no, the shakers are a bit predictable. It's more like the melody is not predictable. And so if I were to arrange this loop, make it into a track, I would probably like record a couple of minutes of this, only these bongos, this loop, and like extract the things that I want and make or add these to the track instead of always having this randomness, because this will never, or probably never, or at least not in a predictable way, repeat itself. So yeah. After that, I added some crashes, crash at the start and a reverse crash at the end, just to signal the end and the start of the loop. Again, not in a traditional way. Why not? Or what did I do? I added a random multi-effects. This is something I made a while ago, and I may be wrong, but I think it's all Bitwig effects. Yeah, even some like presets. And what it is, I'm just gonna quickly go over it. It's so in this case it's delay, and you have other effects as well. You can see down the delay. And what I did is I added some modulators, mostly random modulators, but also like a feedback. Sorry, a steps modulator, and it's constantly modulating parameters of the effect. In this delay, there's also an effect in the feedback. So there's a chorus in the feedback. in which I also modulate a lot of parameters. So the sound is like constantly changing, just only with a simple delay. But every time the sound plays, it will change. It will select another effect here. So the crash is never, I think it can never be the same as the one before. And the random modulator is choosing which effect will be. So yeah, it's constantly changing. Again, also with the reverse crash, it's also always changing. Not always the same effect, and in the effect, it's not always the same parameters in which the sound goes to the effect. And so we end up with this loop. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope you got some inspiration from it. Because if you just get some inspiration out of one thing I do, one video I make, I mean, I'm the happiest person in the world because getting inspired is the best thing one someone can do for you. So yeah, that will be the greatest compliment. Not that you learned something, but that I inspired you. Hope you loved it. Got some remarks, suggestions? Maybe you want me to do another challenge with other parameters? Shoot, happy to hear it, and hope to see you in the next one. So goodbye. Have a nice day.